Welcome to the Reality Revolution. Today is a beautiful day to read some incredible channelings from the Arcturian Council. I am reading from an amazing book, Ascension, The Shift to the Fifth Dimension. The Arcturian Council is a group of higher dimensional beings channeled by Daniel Scranton. If you get a chance, I've had several interviews with Daniel. He's amazing, and these channelings are so much fun to read. They carry powerful wisdom and unique insight about the ascension process, about reality creation, and about so much more. This set of channelings covers a variety of topics, including do this every day before you get out of bed, time for humanity to admit what's inside of you, do this and everything will get better, what's more powerful than the deep state, put your consciousness on the cabal or a flower, what you need to know about what's really going on, and so much more. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are open to any and all possibilities that will make this journey easier for all of you. We are not attached to one path, to one way of going about expanding your consciousness, evolving, and ascending. But we have noticed some things about humanity and your approaches to returning home, returning to source. We have noticed that there are many false paths that appear in front of you when you are more physically oriented and physically focused. When you are looking outside of yourselves for the path that will return you to source, you often find something or someone, some activity, or some way of approaching life, and then you believe that it is the way, the one true way. You believe that it is the only way you could ever return home to source, because in your experience, it works. And it works until it doesn't. When it doesn't, there's usually a great deal of sadness, some suffering, perhaps a dark night of the soul, and then you're there to pick up the pieces and move on. What you have outside of you in the physical is all lovely. It is all to be enjoyed and experienced. And you are meant to have interests, things you are fascinated by and people you want to be around. But your paths to source are so much more long-lasting when they involve going within. Being silent, meditating, feeling your feelings, and focusing on the love that is within you. Love doesn't have to be something that is initiated by someone or something outside of you. It doesn't have to be state-dependent or conditional. The feeling of oneness isn't something that you can only access by taking certain steps in the physical to get to that perfect point on the planet. You can experience it anywhere, and many people have experienced the sensation of oneness in the strangest of places and at the strangest of times. There is, of course, not just one way to access what we are all seeking, but there are ways that are more effective. They may seem like they are the long way to return home to source, but in actuality, they are the shorter way. You can avoid a lot of trial and error by sitting and tuning in to what you can feel inside of you as that spark of divinity. We suggest you start every day of your lives from this point forward, seeking to feel that spark before you get out of bed in the morning. And notice how less attached you are then to the circumstances of your world being just right for you. And then you can really live, because as you accept the world as it is, so much more of it can open up to you and bring you that which you are no longer attached to, all because you took the time to feel for the path to source that is within each and every one of you. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Time for humanity to admit what's inside of you. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are giving you as much as we can in any given moment, but you can give yourselves everything. There are no restrictions, no limitations, when what you are receiving is from within. Now, we will always attempt to assist you with unlocking and opening those doors to the inner realm that can and will eventually grant you everything. We are talking about everything that you are and all of your gifts and abilities, as well as everything you want in the external world. It is all inside of you. And that is not just something we say, it is instead something we know to be true in a very real way. If you look at your environment as a projection, then you can start to get an idea of how this is possible. Everything that you experience comes from your own energy, the projection of your own consciousness. You are showing yourself what is inside of you when you witness the outside world. If you see people arguing, then even if you're not arguing with people in your life, there's a lot of internal dialogue that holds that same vibration as the argument you are witnessing. If you want to manifest something, then you have to offer the vibration of it rather than offering the vibration of the lack of it in your experience. And we know that it is easier to do. It is easier to look outside of yourself and say, well, this is just how it is. This is the world I am in. It is a bit more challenging to admit that this is the world you are creating and projecting. And it takes some real courage to take responsibility for everything that you see and experience out there and then do something about it. Once you realize that the infinite and the eternal are inside of you, then you have to accept it all. You have to be willing to embrace all aspects of yourself instead of judging and criticizing who and what you are. And then you get to choose from all that is inside of you who and what you want to activate. And the choices are limitless. They will only seem limited if you believe what everyone else is telling you about yourself, including your own mind. Your own ego can work against you by not wanting to admit that you are so much more than you appear to be. Start believing in yourselves and in your abilities to put out into the world everything you want to experience and to become everything you want to become, and it will be so. The other way of living is an unconscious way, and it doesn't work very well for those who are moving through life believing that they are the small ego and that the world is so chaotic and confusing. When you realize what you have the power to do, then it is up to you to use that power. And because you all have the ability to focus, to feel, to think, and to activate what you want, we know that you can and you will. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Do this and everything will get better. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are certain that you all are getting exactly what you need in your lives right now, because we know that is the way of the universe. We know that you are always being given exactly what you need in order to grow, to expand, and to evolve. We know that sometimes this ascension journey of yours is not pleasant, and it's not what you want it to be. But we also know that it is what is most appropriate for you in each and every moment. Now, if you could see each moment as showing up to give you exactly what you need to grow, expand, and evolve, then you could have more fun in your lives. You would find that there is always something to appreciate about the moment that you are in, and you would look at your spiritual growth as your number one priority and desire. You would also know that eventually you will get everything that you want as well, and that would bring you solace. If you can be at peace with what is, you have everything you need to move beyond what is and to that better place, that better reality that you seek. As soon as you go into resistance mode and you start thinking about how you can change the outer reality and make the things you don't want go away, you have taken yourself out of that place of peace, and you have inadvertently thwarted your progress. We all live in a universe of duality, and that means you must accept that the opposite of what you want and what you believe will always exist. They are not there to taunt you or terrify you, but they are there to give you the opportunity to choose, and you can choose what you do want without vilifying what you don't want. You can be positive in a sea of negativity. You can be the light in a room filled with darkness. Those are your choices, and you know that when you are coming from the light and focusing on the positive, you feel better. You don't feel good when you're trying to defeat or snuff out what you don't want, but you ignore that feeling because you think what you are doing is for the greatest and highest good of all. You go on your own personal crusade to rid the world of a perspective, point of view, that is different than the one you are currently holding. And that is where humanity gets all tripped up. Look at your life as it is right now, and bless every ounce of it for showing up to give you what you need to grow spiritually. And then ask yourself the question, how do I grow spiritually from this situation? You don't even have to label it as a negative situation or an unwanted situation. See it as just being what it is. No judgment, no definition required, and then you can get to the point of acceptance. You can embrace it. You can forgive those who you have deemed responsible for bringing it to you, even though deep down you must know by now that you are creating all of it, and everything is temporary. But when you fight it, and when you resist it, when you blame it and judge it, you'll get more of it. You'll stretch out that temporary visit. You can turn it into years or even decades of you battling the same thing or the same people. It's time to let go. It's time to let everything that exists within Source be exactly what it is. And then you can choose by how you feel, by what you resonate with, everything that you would like to see more of in your reality. If it doesn't show up right away, make peace with that. And if it doesn't show up the way you want it to, make peace with that. You are not there to dictate everything to become dictators. You are there to be unconditional love. And that means you are choosing love in all conditions, and all conditions must be allowed to be in order for you to be the unconditional love that you always have been and always intended to be for this time there on planet Earth. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. What's more powerful than the deep state? Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are very capable of sending out energies that will encourage people to look within themselves more frequently for wherever it is they feel is lacking in their lives. And this does not interfere with your spiritual development, but rather it is a catalyst for all of you to be more spiritually inclined. It is easy to get caught up in what is going on out there in the quote-unquote real world. But it is also good for people to remember that the real world is an illusion, a projection of their own consciousness. But when you go within, you find the truth. You find the real you, the real reality. And that's why it's so important for those like us to encourage you, not only with our words, but also with our energy transmissions. And we do encourage you to go within often. What do you do once you go within? One might wonder. Well, certainly going within makes you more aware of your thoughts. And any thoughts that you know are repetitive and not helpful to your spiritual evolution, you will become more aware of when you are inwardly focused. Any feelings will also become harder to ignore when you are focused on what's going on inside of you. And when you get past the temporary thoughts and feelings, you can get into the truth of who you are as a being of unconditional love. And you can feel that unconditional love at the very core of your being. You can radiate it out on purpose, and you can fill yourself up with it as well. And when you go out into the world, you won't be looking for anything within it to fulfill you and to fill you up. You will realize that you are the one who has to do all the filling, and that you are there to fill the world up with your love and light. Now, when we give you something like this, hopefully you realize that all the stories out there in the outside world are so less important than you thought they were. All the beliefs about what's really going on right now hold so much less weight when you realize that it's all a projection of your consciousness anyway. If that's the case, why would you need a whistleblower or someone who has their finger on the pulse of the deep state to tell you what's really happening in the reality that you're projecting from within yourself? Of course, these stories are entertaining and they get your mind's attention, but you really want to use your mind proactively. You want to use your mind creatively. You want to use your mind to focus instead of just feeding it what it finds interesting or compelling. Just because something makes logical sense to your mind doesn't actually mean it's true. Remember that, and remember that you can make anything true if you focus on it enough. And now perhaps you realize how powerful you are and how important going within really is to you accessing that power. The power we are referring to is not the type of power that billionaires and world leaders seek. It is the type of power that lets the individual know that you are already everything and therefore you need nothing. That's the type of power that has inner peace attached to it, and that type of power that no one could ever take away from you. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Put your consciousness on the cabal or a flower. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are very deep in our understanding of consciousness, and you are just beginning to scratch the surface of what consciousness is. Therefore, we have a lot to give you in that regard. And as always, we can only lead you in the right direction so that you can have your own experiences, but we cannot just bestow upon you the level of consciousness that we have been able to attain. It takes time and it takes practice to reach a point where you know what you are focusing on in every moment, and you are focusing with purpose. Once you begin to use your consciousness deliberately, it starts to become its own reward. In other words, you might get into a spiritual practice thinking that you will get somewhere or something. You might think that this is the answer to all of my problems, so I will engage in it. But really, the process, the exercise, the spiritual practice itself is the point. Everything is designed to get you to be more conscious, to get you to be more deliberate about your focus, your intention, your words, your thoughts, and your actions. Truly, that's the only way to live. Many people who are part of the New Age spiritual community will become aware of the fact they've been unconscious for so long, and then they will find out that other people have taken advantage of that. And those newly awakened souls will become angry, outraged even, and they will place all of their attention on those who seek to control and manipulate you through programming. But really, it would serve everyone so much more if they would laugh at themselves and at their own folly, and then let go of the need to stop the programming. Instead, you can all start living consciously and deliberately in that moment. You become aware of the fact that it's possible to do so. And that means putting your attention on what is good, what is wanted, what is positive, what is perfect as it is. Is there anything more perfect than a flower? Or more pure, more full of joy in its expression of itself? Then give the flower your attention, not the cabal or the deep state, or whatever name is being given to those who appreciate when humans are lacking consciousness. Give your attention to what you want to see more of rather than putting it on dismantling what you want to see less of there on planet Earth. You have the ability to become so much more than what you have been. But you cannot get there by putting your attention on what has held you back in the past. Be in the present with what you know now, and give your attention consciously to what makes you feel expansive. And give your attention to what fills you with love, light, and joy. And if you need to know this, then we will give it to you. That is how you force the old systems that are in place to crumble, to be dismantled, to fall away. But don't do it for that purpose. Do it because it's the only way to really affirm that you are alive, that you are source, that you are unconditional love in the flesh. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. What you need to know about what's really going on. Greetings, we are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are watching and waiting to see what happens next there on planet Earth, and we have the luxury of taking that approach while also having the privilege of getting to help you when we can. However, you are living there on planet Earth, and you can do even more than we can to help the human collective, because you're part of that collective. You don't have to sit back and wait to see what happens, and you don't have to read someone's blog post or watch someone's video who is going to then tell you what is going to happen next. You get to participate in the creation of the future that you will experience along with the fellow humans in your little collective. Therefore, we advise you to not just watch and wait. We advise you to be proactive in what you're putting out energetically, and that includes your words and actions just as much as it includes your thoughts, feelings, and visualizations. You can change your world for the better right now, and then you can wait to see how the world reflects to you the changes you have made, and that can be the fun part of it for you. You can also look out at the world right now with the understanding that the world is showing you what is needed. The world will always show you how you can best show up in it to be the best version of yourself, and therefore contribute mightily to the human collective. The way that you can contribute all day, every day, is with your vibration. We advise you to keep your vibration high by focusing on the things that put you in a higher vibrational state. That means you don't always want to be looking outside of yourself for the problems of the world that need your energy to help solve those problems. Look within for what's already inside of you that's perfect. Look within for your love, your compassion, your creativity, your ability to heal and to forgive. You hold the keys to the kingdom, always. And if anyone out there is telling you that you don't, stop giving them your attention. We know that it's easy and even a little exciting to look outside of yourselves at the stories that others are creating with their very creative minds about the world you are living in. This is not the world you experience, but rather a world that you hear about. And the stories are so entertaining that you want to give them more and more of your attention. And the people creating the stories know this. They know how to grab your attention and how to keep it. That is why it is so important to let your experience be your truth, your reality. And we are talking about your experience of your inner world and your experience of the outer world. Of course, there is plenty going on there on Earth that you don't know about, but that's okay. If you need to know about it, you would. But you certainly don't need someone's idea of what that might be in order for you to remain interested in being there on Earth and continuing your journey. Don't go looking for trouble, and don't go looking for someone else's truth in order to make it your own. Live your truth, shine your light, and know that you are there to help, and that you help more by being of a high vibration than you do by knowing every little detail about what's going on behind the scenes in the secret world that you don't experience. Let your experience be enough, and let yourselves be who you really are, so that you can co-create the world that you want to experience, and that you want others to experience as well. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Do this one thing, and we guarantee big changes. Greetings, we are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are presenting ourselves with many different strategies that we could employ in our efforts to help humanity evolve and ascend. We are quite excited about exploring all the various strategies in front of us in order to determine which is in fact the best one. We know that you have the same opportunity there when it comes to the ways you can approach your life or a unique situation in your life. We want you to get excited about possibilities as well. What we often see is a person who feels there is no choice and that they must do this way because this is the way that everyone else is doing it, or this is the way that their parents did it. And in some cases, people just haven't allowed themselves to consider that there are other possibilities, other approaches that they could explore. And then there are people who feel overwhelmed by having too many choices. They would rather not have to choose. And so it is easier for those individuals to just stick to one approach, one strategy to life and everything they encounter within life. That is, of course, very limiting, especially when you can show yourselves down to the point of realizing that you exist within a realm of infinite possibilities. And get excited about realizing that you may not know everything, and get excited about the possibility that you could allow a new strategy to be downloaded into your mind. Realize that if you make the slightest change in your life, you can change everything. Be willing to take new approaches in the same way that you are willing to change your clothes every day. When you are attached to anything, you become more limited. That is why we recommend that you examine your attachments and examine the way you approach each situation, each person, each task that you face in your lives. And then just be open to the possibility that there's a different way, a new approach, a strategy that you hadn't considered before, and you will open doorways that were previously closed to you. They weren't closed to you because you were bad or because you weren't worthy of them. They were closed to you because you closed them. But as you tell the universe that you are open to seeing things in a new way and to have all possibilities available to you, then the universe can respond accordingly, and the universe always does. When you approach life with the attitude that there is so much more for you than you could possibly imagine, then guess what? That is how life becomes. As you are the orchestrator, you are the creator, and you are the one who is deciding what you experience either consciously or subconsciously. Decide consciously that you are open to what is new and different and unimaginable, and that is what you will experience. You have our guarantee. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. The outside world is lying to you. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are quite capable of measuring our own progress because we are so attuned to our overall vibration and the feeling of expansion that is available to us at all times. As beings who are consciously expanding, humans tend to look for evidence of your progress, your evolution, by how much of what you want is in your life, as compared to how much of what you don't want is in your life. This is not the best way to measure your progress and spiritual evolution. You are a being of light and love that is expanding all the time. And that means you're capable of feeling more grace, more joy, more of the love that you truly are. But you wouldn't know that unless you tuned into the ability that you have to feel all that and more. You don't know you are expanding unless your expansion is important to you and you are willing to feel for it. You cannot measure any of your experience as a spiritual being by looking at the physical world, but you can always tell how you're doing in any given moment by exploring what you are feeling about the physical world as you observe it. Sometimes this is the way that you present yourself with an opportunity to show you that you have changed and are evolving. You put yourself in the same set of circumstances and you check to see whether you respond in the same way. Ultimately, of course, you want to respond in a better way than you did before when having the exact same experience, and that response is up to you. You get to determine how you respond to something when you are conscious and when you slow down enough to take it in. Realize how you feel about it and process those feelings. Someone who reacts usually isn't aware of what they are feeling until they have had their reaction, and those reactions usually are with words or actions that are coming from a lower vibrational place. But you don't want to recreate a big mess in your life to show yourself that you have been expanding, evolving, ascending, and becoming more of who you really are. You can feel for the movement forward you are making if you are taking the time to consciously reach within for what is available to you now that wasn't available to you yesterday. And you also have the ability to feel outside of your physical body if you can be patient enough with the process of stretching your consciousness out beyond your physical form. This too will give you everything that you need to reassure yourself that you are in fact making progress there on Earth, and that you're always making progress all the time, no matter how it looks to you in the outside world. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Are your freedoms being taken away? Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are always looking out for humanity and always seeking the opportunities that you have to grow and expand as individuals and as a collective. You are in one of those moments right now. As you look out at your lives and you look at the world around you, you most certainly do have a choice. If you get triggered at this time because of the perceived lack of freedom, then do your work, feel your emotion. Let go of the thoughts and beliefs that put you in that feeling of being painted into a corner, and instead focus on what you can do. There's so much you can do, and there are so many freedoms that can never be taken away from you. You have the freedom to choose what to focus upon, and you have the freedom to choose how you vibrate. You have the freedom to choose to think a thought, to use your imagination, to fantasize. You have the freedom to create your reality. You have the freedom to choose to go within. You have the freedom to choose love and compassion over paranoia and fear. These are just a few of the freedoms that can never be taken away from you. And when you are protesting in the streets and shaking your fists screaming about freedom, we recommend that you ask yourself where you feel disempowered in your life, and whether that feeling just started recently or whether it's been there for a while. A person who has always wanted to visit Paris and enjoy the fine food and wine of Paris, but has never been able to take the trip and stay in a 5-star luxury hotel, could see themselves as lacking in freedom, or they could recognize that they have freedom to create that experience at any time. That's where you are right now. You are living in a world where you can look around and say to yourself that you would like things to be different. But how are you going to change the world? How are you going to change your world? The easiest way is to go within and change what's happening inside of you. And that includes what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you're vibrating. And it's very easy to do. The hard way is the way most people are going about it: protests, marches, signing petitions, and trying to vote certain people into office and others out of office. These are the hard ways to go about changing your world. And again, you are free to choose in any moment the world you are aligning with, the timeline you are putting yourself on, and the amount of freedom you feel inside your body. Those are the freedoms to focus upon if you really want to feel free. We know that some of you are angry, and that anger is a powerful emotion, and one that should be allowed, but ultimately you want to feel it and let it go. You don't want to stay angry and keep looking for more things to feel angry about there on earth. You will never run out of things to feel angry about if you keep looking, but inner peace is always available to you. It's always there inside of you. Activate it, and activate your freedom, and realize that you have choices, and you will change your world for the better. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. This one is for all the truth seekers. Greetings, we are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are very interested in witnessing all of you come to the conclusion that you come to about life there on Earth. And so we notice how you absorb information that comes to you. We notice that most of you are filtering information through your minds, and when you do that, you only let in that which is already a part of your current belief system about the topic in question. That means you do not allow in new information if it contradicts what you already believe to be true. When instead you run information through your body, you can feel whether it resonates with you. Now we are going to make this a bit more complex for you by letting you know that all realities are real, and therefore all truths are true. And you have a future that is best suited for you and that will be most enjoyable to you. It is one of many. In that future that is best one for you, certain things are true and certain things are not true. Therefore, you want to be led to that future reality by your feelings. And your feelings are guiding you toward the truths that serve you the most, rather than the truths that validate your pre-existing beliefs. This is why we are telling you that it serves you more to process information through your bodies than through your minds. If something doesn't feel good to you, then pay it no more attention. You'll be presented with different truths, of course, because you are being presented with different choices for what you are moving towards. Which reality you will inhabit next? That is why you always have to encounter the opposite of what you want and the opposite of what you believe. It is so you can make a choice based on the resonance. If you all had to share one reality and only one reality, that would make it a lot easier on the scientists and intellectuals of planet Earth, because then there would only ever be one truth. But since this is not the case, you get to travel to the reality that you want to experience most and that suits you the most, and you do so with your focus as well as your feelings. What we are telling you in a very convoluted way is that you should focus on the reality that you want to experience rather than the one you must experience based on all the evidence. Sometimes you base what you believe to be true on what others believe to be true. You think that if so many people believe in this, then maybe I should look into it, rather than feeling into and determining for yourself whether it's a road you really want to go down and a reality you want to experience. If there were only one reality, then that would limit source. That would limit how much source could experience of itself. And that would never happen. Source will always be infinite and expanding at the same time, which is another concept that boggles the mind. But if you can feel into the truth of it, then you know that what we are telling you is true for you. And if it is true for you, then you get to choose which aspect of Source you experience next. And you get to choose the one that feels most in harmony with who you are, what you want, and what you want for everyone there on Earth. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Predictions of major changes on Earth. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are very interested in your spiritual evolution, and that is true for you as a society and you as individuals. We look at both, and we see how the individual impacts the society and how your society impacts all of you as individuals. We know that you are part of a larger community of spiritually awake people, and we know that within that community there are a lot of promises that are made to you about big changes that will occur in the outside world. We've noticed that a lot of you hang on these predictions because you're so desperate for change. And we see more and more of you getting disappointed and even fed up with all the promises and with very few results. This has occurred enough times there in the New Age and spiritual community for many of you to decide that you are not going to wait for the big change to occur. In fact, we see the human collective consciousness growing, expanding, and evolving so much more now that people are starting to realize that they are the ones who must initiate the change. We see more and more people looking within themselves for how they can let go of some belief, some negative emotion, or some thought that they keep thinking. We see enough of you changing your vibration by going within to make that huge impact on the collective consciousness that you are a part of. And we know that you should feel encouraged by all of that. But again, if you just look outside of yourselves and wonder when the big changes will be reflected to you in the physical realm, you might get discouraged or even fed up again. Therefore, what is happening outside of you needs to become irrelevant to you in the sense that you're not going to let it determine how you feel and at what frequency you vibrate. Yes, at times you cannot help but feel saddened by a situation. You cannot help but react with anger to something, but you are at the point now in your spiritual evolution where you must realize that to stay in those states of being doesn't serve you. It serves you so much more to move through them as quickly as possible so that you can get to what really matters, which is the movement of your own vibration to a higher frequency state. That's what you can always do. That's what you always have control of, and that will always make the biggest impact on your world. You can make a much bigger impact with your positive, high vibration than anyone can with their lower negative vibration. So you need to take back your power and stop seeing those in positions of power and authority as having all the say in what happens to you and what happens to your fellow humans. You can live in that world. You can want to live in sooner than later, but you're not going to get to it unless you are vibrating in harmony with it. And it's hard to vibrate in harmony with it if you keep looking at the world that's outside of you now and reacting and then not doing anything about your reactions. Always let what is unwanted about your experience inspire you to move vibrationally towards what is wanted, and you will get there. It's not just our guarantee, it's the law of the universe that you are a part of and that you can rely upon, and that we are affirming for you right now. So continue on the inward journey that you've been on, because those predictions keep coming up short, and know that you are making a difference there on your world. Even if you're making the difference that you want to make through action, even when you make the difference through raising your vibration, it's still having the impact you want it to have, and you're having the impact that you want to have. And we want to congratulate those of you who have been doing this work for moving the needle, for bringing the level of consciousness to a higher one once again. We thank you, we honor you, and we look forward to seeing what more is ahead for all of you. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. The Arcturian Council begins these channelings by emphasizing that they are not attached to one particular path, that there are infinite paths to Source. As you evolve and ascend, you will find there are infinite ways to find this evolution and ascension. When you're looking outside of yourself for the path that will return you to Source, you will find something or someone or some activity And then you believe that is the way. That's the one true way, but that's not true. There are infinite ways for you to find your path. They emphasize that you will find what you need inside of you. And this is an activation. This is a way of changing your consciousness to look within instead of without. And that seems cliche, but has much deeper meaning. The environment that you have is a projection. Everything that you experience comes from your own energy, the projection of your own consciousness. You are showing yourself what is inside of you when you witness the outside world, according to the Arcturians. If you see people arguing, then even if you're not arguing with people in your life, there's a lot of internal dialogue that holds that same vibration as an argument. They emphasize that we live in a universe of duality, and that means that you must accept the opposite of what you want and what you believe will always exist. They are not there to taunt or terrify you, but they are there to give you the opportunity to choose. And you can choose what you do want without vilifying what you don't want. There's a lot of teaching here about looking out into the world, particularly with politics or with governments, and you want to fight it in all these ways, but they're advising the best way is to go within and to understand what is happening within you. Everything is temporary, but when you fight it and you resist it, when you blame it and you judge it, you get more of it. You stretch out what is temporary and you turn it into years or decades of you battling the same thing or the same people. And so their advice is to let go, to let everything that exists within Source be what it is, to be. They discuss the deep state several times, emphasizing that as you awaken, when you become awakened, one of the natural things is for you to look out into the world and get angry at the ways that people are manipulating you and programming you. Inevitably, in your ascension process, you come to another realization that while the world is manipulating you and you are in this awakened state, the way you change it is not by changing it without also changing it within. And all the stories in the outside world are less important than you thought they were. All the beliefs about what's really going on, all the conspiracies that you hear, when you realize it's all a projection of your consciousness anyway. If that's the case, why are you focusing on the deep state or the cabal or whatever it is that you focus on? When they talk about focusing on the cabal, which is something that you hear from people that enter into discordant spiritual states in some cases, change what you focus on. Instead of focusing on the cabal or that evil conspiracy, focus on the flower. So the emphasis is what you really need to know about what's going on is that you participate in the creation of the future that you experience. Therefore, you don't just watch and wait. You become proactive in what you're putting out energetically with your words, actions, thoughts, feelings, and visualizations. You can change the world for better right now when you can wait to see how the world reflects to you the changes that you make within. These are things we talk about on a regular basis, but they repeatedly emphasize these teachings, so they are important. They also indicate that they're aware that there's all these channelings out there where people predict these things that are going to happen. Oh no, there's going to be some sort of solar event that's going to happen. Or we're entering into a certain alignment with the stars, or something's going to happen out there. This has happened so often that sometimes people stop believing these channelings because they are never true. I mean, look at what we heard about 2012, which ended up being so much different. Understanding that you are playing an active role in the changes taking place. It's a law of the universe that you are a part of and that you can rely upon. And they're affirming through these channelings that you continue this inward journey and you are affecting the world around you. And that's how you take back your power. You stop seeing people in positions of power and authority and crazy things happening out there and just reacting to it. And you live in a world where you are vibrating in harmony with it and you are aligning within for the choice that you make for a loving and peaceful future. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.